Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Howdy, howdy.
Nice to see you.
Susan, do you have any extra?
They're out. You don't have to cover
I looked at it.
You got new hair, Susan.
Oh, I haven't, okay. All right. I didn't think I'd had new hair that often, but
Wasn't
yes,
that-
I do have new hair.
I'd like to call to order the City of White House Economic Development Corporation meeting for April 17th, 2025. It is 12 p.m. Susan, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Jerry Akins,
Here.
Tom Trimble, Maria Davenport,
Here.
Don Chambers,
Here.
Ernie LaFleur,
Here.
Charles Parker,
Here.
and Bob Breedlove, I think is here, just walked in.
Consent agenda. We have the approval of the minutes from the EDC meeting on January 16th of 2025.
I'll propose that they be approved as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Approval in a second. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. 12:01, welcome Bob Breedlove.
Howdy.
Item C is presentations. We don't have any of those. Item D, agenda items. Number 1, discussion, consideration, and action on sponsorship and participation in the City Center grand opening event.
As a part of the city's ongoing commitment to enhance our community spaces and fostering economic growth, staff is excited to update you on the upcoming grand opening event for the City Center at 109 East Main Street. This is a milestone project and will serve as a central hub for collaboration, events, and business development with the first ever EDC office and the relocation of the Chamber of Commerce offices into this building. The grand opening is anticipated for early August and will feature open house style tours, public safety displays, and a formal dedication of the building itself. It's offering an opportunity to showcase the facility's new amenities and hopefully strengthen partnerships with everyone in the community. City Council has already approved a $2,500 event budget, which includes branded refreshments and professional photography. The Chamber has already expressed interest in co-sponsoring some of those events to, not events, but those elements to help just enhance a little bit. And so today, staff is asking for the board's input on a sponsorship, what level you would like to do, what branding you would like to see, and just hopes to make this successful and a collaborative event that reflects our shared vision for the future.
Okay.
Happy to try to answer any questions for you. Because there were a couple of different levels outlined in the staff report.
As far as branding, what are you looking like at? I mean, it's a cookie branding, right? So it would be like a logo, a tiny
Right, our
logo. Or
logo. It
something.
would be the logo that we have. Alyssa, could you go back and like to the beginning? I think it would probably, we could do that one, or if we'll scroll one more, it's little. It just doesn't say, it just says White House, Texas. It doesn't say economic development. If y'all can see that. That one's a little bit bigger. Unless you have other ideas or suggestions, we're open.
And we are ordering a step and repeat backdrop that has both the city logo and the
And the
EDC
EDC.
logo on it as well for pictures. Okay, because like I said that, I'm gonna make sure that we're doing that.
Which logo did we put on that? Do we
It
have-
has the full White House Development Corporation.
Okay.
Well, I certainly like the idea of participating in some way. I have no idea just exactly what. Seems like a good idea.
Run through the options a little bit, Susan.
Yeah, let's run through those options, please. And, because I have some other ideas
Okay,
before.
give me 1 second. Okay. So what the council has approved in the $2,500 level is the professional photography, tea, lemonade, and punch, and 200 branded individually wrapped cookies. Our opportunities to help out with the chamber is possibly splitting the cost of the cookies with the chamber. That total cost is estimated at $650. We could sponsor the appetizers. That was an option that we had looked at. It was charcuterie cups, and that was for 200 servings, and it's kind of what we're planning for. That's about $3,000. And we could also do a funding a prize drawing for like a pass for a banquet space rental, a co-working space rental, training room rental, something like that. Those are the options that we have.
Or any others that you
Or any
would-
others?
I would like, my idea is that I would like to see some storyboards. And what I'm saying in reference to that is talking about the benefits of the EDC and some of the things that maybe we have on the website converting into a large poster board size that we could either mount on the wall that looked very professional, or at least put on easels or something, so that the visitors, when they come in, can immediately identify the EDC. Now, as far as sponsoring food or drinks or whatever else with all that, that's fine. I mean, I'm okay with that, but I would just like to see something promoting
Yeah.
the actual EDC, whether it's storyboards or somebody else has got a better idea. That's along the lines of what I'm thinking, because I would like to see this as a visible presence within the community for those that show up for the event. That's my idea.
I like that a lot, you know, if we sponsored something like the hors d'oeuvres or something, and then you had those, right? You know, here's the hors d'oeuvre tables, and then you had those easels or on the wall, those picture boards. And then I would think have some kind of, you know, whether cards or some handout with contact info or something about the
I agree.
the EDC. Then it's kind of like, you know, people go, oh man, they're sponsoring food, everybody likes that, and then, you know. Then
I'm
there's-
almost envisioning this like, you know, when you go to a conference or, you know, something, whether it's a vendor conference of some time or something the city Tyler holds or whatever, and you go through and you see the various vendors or what, well, there's not gonna be a lot of vendors there, so this is an opportunity for us to put our best foot forward, whether it's a table, like you said, or, you know, we could actually purchase like a backdrop situation, one of those folding deals out of a bag, and then you can use that for future things, should we decide to go to a different conference or whatever down the road. So it's not a one-time use situation, but it's something that we are investing in to promote the EDC and what we're doing.
You're gonna need one of those anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
isn't it the step and repeat? Not
A little
really,
bit
okay.
different.
Or am I off base with all this?
How much does something like the storyboards cost?
Well, if you did like I've seen them where they're like the big screen banners or whatever, you can get those with the easel and everything where it all folds into a nice little bag and that kind of thing. $500, $600 at the top end. You know, depending on what kind of color graphics and whatever that you put on something like that. And then to get some brochures printed up and handouts and whatever else, pins, whatever, swag, etc.
Not just contact.
Performa, as you probably all know, can really help us out with that, they're really all over that kind of stuff.
Another option would be a few PowerPoint slides that just are projected on the wall in rolls that keep rolling.
Yeah, true, I could do that too. Have some swag, but don't spend the money on the posters, just do that with PowerPoints or something.
There's a lot of different ways to do it,
Yeah.
but
And there's a lot of screens in this building, so there are a lot of opportunities to put up PowerPoint slides for
Yeah.
sure.
I like the idea.
Yeah, maybe distribute it, well, yeah, that's an interesting thought. Every time somebody walks into a meeting room or something, there's something going
Yeah.
on.
I don't know if I still got this on my phone.
7 large screens.
I do agree, this is kind of a special opportunity to make the community aware of who is this outfit?
Our open house, yeah.
Yeah,
I like the idea of helping pay for the cookies. I don't know how advantageous the hors d'oeuvres would be, I don't know.
Something like that, because I have my own insurance that I sell for Health Solutions. We created this,
Oh, yeah.
okay, so,
Always reusable.
yeah, it's always reusable, fits into a nice little bag, you know, whatever. This,
if we start attending conferences, we probably need something.
yeah,
And Stephanie just told me that the chamber has agreed to do $1,500, just to putting money in, just to, and they'll go for
Yeah.
whatever we need.
I would like to see us maybe budget maybe $1,000 for some swag and, that kind of permanent stuff as a initial budget, if that can be done for that.
In addition to the food,
And then whatever you wanna do for the food, with that, but that's along the lines of what I'm thinking. Or if you wanna do a storyboard, maybe you increase that another couple $100 or something, I don't know, but we're talking about a budget idea here, and I'm just saying, basically, that would be your purview to maybe figure out what you can afford within the,
Within that budget,
Within that
yeah,
budget.
whatever y'all need to do.
so, you know, all-in budget, would you say the hors d'oeuvres or something, or?
The charcuterie board is, estimated at 3,000 for 200 servings. And we're planning for about 200 people.
Are you gonna have wine or any alcoholic beverages? or-
No,
What time of day is this planned?
Friday evening to the.
So it's gonna be an evening thing. And I think hors d'oeuvres would be pretty appropriate for an evening deal. Like, starting at like, 5 or
5 to
6,
7,
kind of right after.
Is there gonna be an agenda with it as well?
Yes, there will be.
So, bands, music?
Drumline, and
Oh,
then we're
really?
looking at possibly getting the jazz band, but I think the jazz band may be already booked.
oh my
Okay.
God.
But they're looking at doing that.
So cookies and punch. Okay.
No snow cones.
What's that?
I said no snow cones.
Oh, okay. Good. No bounce house.
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I'm in a generous mood and feel like spending money today, but, you know, I'm kinda
I like
all,
it when you're in those
I'm kinda all in on this, but, you know, so y'all rein me back if you want, but,
No, I think you're right. This is kind of unique situation, the opening of this. When are we ever gonna have something like that again?
Right.
And we haven't had any kind of real community outreach. And, I think we wanna set an image like we got it going on, what are we doing now? But anyway, at least we got it, you know, show them.
Fake it
Trying to
till-
have it going on.
fake it till we make it.
Yeah, there you have it, you know, so
Local
I'd
news.
be happy to spend a little bit of money to make it look sort of special, you know?
News TV station gonna be there filming?
Probably.
That'll be great.
I can't let them know until I have a firm date, but we will invite them for sure.
Yeah, I bet they'd love to attend something like that.
Love it. Sounds good.
Construction guys get a little nervous when I start throwing dates around.
Maria, you're the numbers cruncher.
Well,
Rein
how
me
generous
back
are
in.
you feeling? What are you thinking about?
Well, if they're saying 3,000 for the charcuterie, and then, you know, if we put, you know, another $1,500 with it for, displays, presentations, swag, brochures, whatever on that, I was all in at 45.
Sounds good.
You can do a lot with that.
Do it upright.
Have I lost my mind? I mean, staff?
No?
Yeah, I don't think so. Leslie?
Is that being generous enough?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. I think, a couple of considerations just would be, I think the plan is that the EDC pays something like $500 per year in rent for this facility. So to help make this a really big event, I think is great and would be well appreciated from the city side. And so we're just excited to get it open and going, and I think we can do something really nice and really show off the EDC easily for $4,500 for sure.
Good.
Well, I think,
This is the first city building we've opened in 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
And-
pretty big deal.
and while I don't like to bring up the negative, but you know I had to go there. But, there are some in the community that don't see the need for that facility necessarily. So there's always your naysayers out there. So I think it's important that if you're going to do this for the first new city building, you're trying to make this a showcase place for the city, that you put your best foot forward. Otherwise, you stand a real good chance of the whole thing coming out as a negative instead of the positive that you want it to be. So I think if you don't invest in this thing the right way up front, then you run the risk of backlash down the road.
Go big or go home.
There you go.
Yep.
That's why storyboard or PowerPoints, people gotta come out of, oh man, they're thinking big
That's right,
thoughts,
yeah.
some
And-
vision,
Exactly.
what's going on,
Yeah.
like flashing up, hey, new
Yeah.
parks coming, and.
Whatever it is, I
The
mean,
retail coach stuff, boy, hey, we're trying to bring in new retail. Just some of those things flashing up there would really, I think, help our credibility.
and that's why I'm saying if 4,500 isn't enough, we can bump it to 5. I don't have a problem with that.
I think now that we have an amount, we can go back and come back to you at the next meeting and show you what all that gets for that,
Right.
for that money.
And then if
Yeah.
there's more that you want, then we could address it at that
Yeah.
time.
So I'll make a motion, that we set a preliminary budget at $4,500, subject to review based on what staff can discover.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Bob Breedlove,
Yes.
Charles Parker,
Yes.
Ernie LaFleur,
Yes.
John Chambers,
Yes.
Maria Davenport,
Yes.
and Jerry Akins.
Yes.
Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. All right. Agenda item number D2 is discussion and update on the retail coach.
Switch gears here. We're continuing to advance our retail recruitment efforts with the retail coach. They are now preparing for the upcoming ICSC Las Vegas conference in May. That is a premier event for retailers. At the time when I spoke with them last week at our call, there were already 17,000 registrants and counting. They are ramping up their outreach efforts to our targeted prospects, including new developers and restaurant brands, with the goal of showcasing White House at this event. Recent activity reflects strong interest from a variety of retail and restaurant concepts. We've got several prospects actively looking and requesting sites here in White House. The retail coach, they remain engaged with them. They follow up and find out if they need anything else from us. They are committed to leveraging the ICSC platform to make White House a destination for retail growth. We will continue to provide you updates on the recruitment activity, but always, if y'all have questions, if you hear something, please reach out to us and let us know or let us answer those questions for you. I guess it's okay to talk a little bit about our meeting this morning. Leslie and I met with a couple of property owners here in town. it was a very good talk. It was great to meet with them and hear their ideas. They are now interested in doing possibly some ground leases. They have property along Highway 110 that has, it's occupied at this moment, but they are interested in possibly doing something else. And but not selling outright, they would do ground leases, which is good for us to know. There are companies who are more interested in that than purchasing. But they also have other properties around that they might consider selling. Even some of those with the ground lease, depends on the price. They might be interested in selling those along 110. Our plan is it was just this morning, so I'll let the retail coach know. I'll provide them the contact information for these owners, and that way, as things come in and people are, businesses are looking for properties, we'll be sure to get that in front of them.
They have several parcels that exceed 1 acre in
Yes.
size, which has been one of the challenges of getting retail and restaurant, particularly restaurant along Highway 110. So that was promising to hear that they're open to ground lease or potentially selling. That's not their favorite idea, but it was exciting to hear that they're open to those discussions.
At least talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that is encouraging. Yeah, because the restaurant wants a pretty good parking area, so you need some space, yeah.
The quick serve restaurants are good with about an acre, acre and a half, but larger restaurants, they need more space than that. I was privileged to be on a call with the retail coach. I can't say with who, it was with several other cities, but it was a breakfast type restaurant, and they have a bakery as well.
Oh,
It's a restaurant bakery concept.
Nice.
Kind of vanilla.
That would be
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, sounds really interesting. Do you envision that retail coach might make a presentation or something at this big event of ours, or will we just have stuff about them going up, or?
I've not thought about
Yeah,
inviting
and
them.
I don't know that it's,
It's that,
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you can't really talk about what you're doing exactly, but,
I kind of see them as more the behind the scenes.
behind the scene, and then we
Yeah.
just show some of the output.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's a search, an active effort to contact retail people and everything, I don't think anybody knows that.
Nobody
And
knows.
I think that people would be heartened to hear that. But
Yeah.
that's a separate issue.
No, that's a good point, Ernie. Really is. Worth consideration. I think we defer that to staff for their sage guidance.
Yes.
Does retail coach have any contacts with hotels?
yes. They are actively speaking with those contacts. We have, there's one in particular who is looking for a, what word am I looking for? What am I looking for? Not tenant, but the,
Operator?
operator, yes, thank you.
So they got a building, they just need an operator to run it. So they got a location.
well, we need
What-
somebody to build the
To
building.
build
That's
and
really
run.
what,
Yeah,
I think we have an operator.
I didn't think we had an operator. I may be wrong, I don't know.
Okay.
We have there's a potential
Someone wants to
location.
build and lease the building versus own it. In other words, the hotel doesn't necessarily want to own the building, they want to lease the building.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I may be saying that all.
Well, at least it's on the radar, so that's
Yes,
good.
it is.
Yes. I think I said it wrong. I think there is the operator. We need the person to build it. Yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of builders.
They need somebody, a developer that'll develop it and build it.
That
for
has
them
the capital and
And
Yeah.
will build
lease
it.
it to the operator.
Yeah, kind of like Lake or one of those types.
That's interesting. I don't know enough about that market.
I think we have a willing property owner, a willing hotel operator. I don't think we have the
Something like
capital and builder.
The backer for the building, how much money are you thinking about?
I'm not sure.
Probably a few million.
What those, yeah.
Well, you know, new home construction is 200 a foot, so. And if you start adding sprinklers and things like that, then.
Especially on work and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. If they actually wanna pass an inspection,
Oh, boy,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's very positive.
Yeah, that I think would be a real milestone for this city to have a good hotel facility.
I've believed for years that there's such a need for it. It's just, I think it's there. I just surprised that somebody, you know, and I think we probably could have done it around 2020, but, you know, COVID put such a dent in us that everything's still set back.
I feel like just a few more little retail things would help the impetus on the hotel too. Just the new growth and the interest in White House would stir that pot a little.
I think you're right.
I think the hotel operator that we met with felt like conditions were ripe for their brand. And I really think that if we had a developer and builder in place, that we would be moving forward.
Wow,
I think we're that close.
Wow.
So
pretty close.
just that missing piece. It's a big piece, the expensive piece.
The money, yeah.
So
It's really weird. There's, right next to the One America building, right off the loop, across the
Squeeze
street.
that thing back in there.
They set that thing back up in there, and they've been working on that for what, 2 years? And I don't think they're ever gonna get it open.
I don't know.
It's just really weird. It took me forever. I said, is it apartments or is it,
Yeah.
no? It's
That's what I thought
it's
it was gonna
Yeah, I
be.
thought it was an apartments to start with, but I guess it's a hotel. They don't even have the driveway completely fixed. So, I'm surprised the city of Tyler isn't all over them. But anyway,
Nothing surprises me.
Surprised they could build it that close to a school. That's just,
I think it's zoned that way, so. I don't know. Anyway, anything else on retail codes?
That's all I have.
Okay, item D3, discussion and brainstorming of entertainment and event space venue.
this was a request from the last meeting.
It's from you guys. It was something that y'all wanted to see on the next agenda, so here we go.
Pretty broad topic there, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a true vine type of thing out here.
Yeah, they got the crawfish boil thing going this week, I think. Is that today?
That true vine?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. That sounds good though.
so down, I don't know if any of y'all been down to Tomball or, anywhere like that, but, they've got a lot of centers down there where they're basically taking and building a common area in the middle and then a bunch of like micro restaurants around the outside. And those, I don't know if you wanna say they're a fad, but you're starting to see pop-ups like that in areas like even in Fort Smith, Arkansas, they're doing a bunch of like containers, like shipping containers. And
I was in Taylor last year, down by Austin, and they repurposed an old elementary school with the outdoor wings and, you know,
Oh, that's
all of
cool.
that. And they've got restaurants and little mini shops and
Oh,
everything else, and have redecorated it. It's really cool. They took the band hall is the biggest, restaurant that's in there. It's really
What happens when the
neat.
bell goes off? Everybody stand up.
Restaurants,
They all duck.
But at least it took,
progressive dinner.
yeah,
I just feel like those are kind of cool seed places though, because like if a restaurant outgrows that space, then we can put them somewhere else in White House. You're like, if there's enough demand, and so.
Well,
I would like to see.
you know, I've got a call and I haven't called him back. I've been busy, but, you know, we have a developer in town with that property that we've talked about a lot, out at Forestdale that, you know, I don't know what to do with that, but,
He's getting pretty far along with the gas station.
is he?
Yeah.
I still want somebody to buy Sheebies and turn it into something outdoorsy there.
There are some floodplain challenges with that particular property that make that difficult,
So put it on stilts.
pretty much.
Let's
Well,
do
if it's
that.
just an outdoor type of venue, then those can be good in those situations because, hey, if there's a flood, you just don't have the events, you know. You're not damaging anything, so very often picnic type things are put in situations like
Make a waterfall.
Yeah.
I don't, have y'all had these kind of conversations with the retail coach about, creating an entertainment retail type venue along those lines where, you know, and I'm even going so far as to say, you know, there's a lot of towns, whether it's Fredericksburg or Waco or whatever, where like he was talking about, where you have everything from food trucks to places that just serve outdoors, and then they've got outdoor or indoor entertainment of some kind that seem to draw people. Matter of fact, over in Ben Wheeler, you know, with those places over there, they seem to draw in a pretty good amount of people from all over for those kinds of events. And you know, and I know Montez does some of that, but I don't know. I've just always felt like that White House could be more engaged with that than what we are, and that there is a bigger need for that, especially given the number of young people that we have and the demand for those kinds of things. I don't know. I'm not, you know, it's hard to make a living if you don't have a bar. I know that in a restaurant business.
Even more so today, probably.
Yeah, I think the margins are just too thin.
The whole era of the food truck has made things like that more viable.
Yeah.
Because as you all have that, there's so many events you go to now, and that's the primary thing. So as long as you have like the outdoor stage and, you know, even area where people can sit down and
I've even seen
you know, just have parking spaces for the food
they're,
trucks.
they're open air, but it's like the covered basketball court type thing where
Yeah.
you know, they've got a metal roof over it and whatever, but you know, there's a stage on the end of it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a real big deal,
Yeah.
as long as then you have the places for the food trucks to park.
Yeah,
You just need some permanent residents, in my opinion.
yeah,
Some staples in there. Or anchor tenants.
yeah, anchor tenants. You know, when I think anchor tenants, I'm always thinking of Sears and J.C. Penney's, and one of those doesn't even exist anymore.
They're a real anchor, they're like 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
Might be showing my age.
Didn't come up with the rope.
Yeah, there you go.
What happened with the guy over here that was doing the entertainment thing? That's what got us off on this topic, is there was a guy over here on,
This, on 346.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more.
But it seems like it would be pretty easy to get entertainment for that kind of place, because we've got a lot of entertainers in this area. People
Yeah.
that just need a guitar and they're gonna sing.
Yeah.
Have you driven by the Black Hawk Creek place on like a Friday night?
I've heard about it.
Holy crap, there's a lot of cars.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's popular.
Well, and I saw the entertainment that they're bringing in Bellamy Brothers and Restless Heart and
That guy
I'm
over here.
like,
Bringing in
Really?
names, yeah.
I'm like, wow.
There's a pretty big field right there at the front. I mean, that could be, that, you know, that's a pretty good space.
Can we annex?
I don't get water and sewer out quite that far.
It all runs down.
Yeah.
What is that property that's across from Center Feed
Nursery?
Store? Yeah. What is that? What does that, property belong to? Is there a development?
The one that we
The one
own?
that we own,
That's the old
the
Rosefield?
Rosefields?
The city owns that.
Like right across from, like if you're looking out the door of
North,
Center
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
to the one to the left?
Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, there's a road that divides out. I'm just trying to make sure. I thought that was the one we had. Is that the one we just acquired?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, yeah, we got the whole big park. What are we talking about? Do we have spots?
Yeah, that's,
I wasn't even thinking about Shahan.
just feels pretty good to me out there. Just feels like a good place.
Sorry. Forgot I needed to.
Yep, that's
All that is
all of
ours.
that.
These.
Yeah, that's an
Yep,
exciting
that's-
space.
That's exactly where I was thinking.
When do they have their,
So
is it July
when
that
the
they were
city
gonna have their
owns it.
readout or something on, or the
And we haven't
landscape
designated
architects or
it
whatever?
yet.
What is,
Working on a plan for that park?
For Shahan,
For Shahan, yeah.
we will have that next Thursday will be our open house meeting and we'll present those two concept plans.
Okay.
This,
That's right.
this
That's not
has not
this.
been designated.
Oh, I'm
yet.
sorry, I'm off on the wrong.
is there a zoning, what is that zoned for?
Residential.
I mean, you don't know the city owns it, but what's it zoned for?
Residential.
Low and medium
Yes.
residential? Okay.
It just feels really close to the community, to me. It's like kinda in the heart.
But you've got retail on the other side of the road with those lovely U-Hauls.
Oh, you see the building that where one ran through? That was so sad.
Yeah. I mean,
Anything new on the railroad?
No.
It looks like a field of dreams to me.
I could put a baseball field there pretty easy.
They will come. Anyway, not trying to solve anything, that specifically came to mind.
Yeah, and I keep thinking about this property over here as well, backing up behind CVS. You know, that,
Well, we have this corner here too. It's not very big.
Right.
But
but anyway,
Did we ever, in council, we never just, like, did the city planning for, like, the fire department potential relocation,
yeah, we're
the
still working on
park?
that.
Yeah, okay.
I have a developer friend who is interested in some property on the southeast side of town. So,
Commercially or residentially?
residential. I'll tell you about that later.
Running out of land in that direction.
It's not inside the city currently. Would require annexation and road improvement to be able to fully access it. And a willing owner to sell.
There would be partial with like pickleball courts and outdoor entertainment, and beside it have all that.
Yeah.
So it's like you, if you're bored on a Saturday, you just go there and whatever you feel like doing.
You know, I think without somebody to help us facilitate or recruit, I think our resources are so limited in terms of what we're able to do. We can plan and maybe look at property and consider, you know, as the city moves forward in considering a future master plan, you know, I think, you know, that's probably something we should have some serious input with in terms of future planning and locations and where we want to drive things as far as zoning goes. But, you know, as far as actually the EDC's investment and being involved in it, until we have that third party that's going to come in here willing to invest, you know, outside of our limited funds and what we can do, I don't know that we can make something like that happen except dream about it.
I don't think we could make the overall thing happen.
Right.
We are getting to the point where we could afford to buy some some land, so that we have options to offer someone, cause you got, what, 450 some odd thousand or something?
Not a ton, but
Not a ton, but when you're talking about just buying, if you were buying just some property, to have options to show people. I'm not pushing that, I'm just saying, we can't do the
And
whole
making
project.
our dreams known publicly is
Right.
gonna
and that's going to
create the excitement too.
and that helps as well. But
How is development of a multi-use property like that, how is that not the same as a business park? So if you're investing in infrastructure for a business park, it seems to me that the multi-use aspect of development would be categorically the same. Am I mistaken in that?
I know in law, right, for economic development corporations, there's a focus on primary employment, which has to do with industrial manufacturing, some of that. So there's some of those limitations, but because you're a type B, you can also do quality of life things. So to me, combining those two together would most likely be allowed.
My thought is, if we were to, like, let's theoretically say we decided we wanted to tackle something like this. If we put the dollars in and then we lease those spaces out to anchor tenants, then we should get some of our money back, hopefully all of it plus some, right? And so I think that whets our beak, so to speak, in a development project that, similar to what Ernie was talking about, I don't necessarily see the capital development cost as being as crippling as maybe some other investments.
when you ran those numbers before, when you're going to your point, to making sure I stay on the agenda here. Financing numbers, what was our max borrowing? Wasn't it like $1.5 million, $1.7 million?
I think so,
Something like
I'd have
that.
to go back, and it's been so long
Just
since I've
ballpark.
looked
I
at
mean,
it.
I, for some reason, I'm thinking that number was out. Does anybody else remember? I mean,
I don't remember what our credit line was,
I don't either.
but that's an excellent question, we should know that.
we should probably tattoo that somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, because that tells you, you know, what your spend is and
Yeah,
what
for
you
sure.
could invest, and then, you know, when you start considering a project that you wanna do, you gotta figure out how that payback works and
Yeah,
what the
for sure.
percentage is, you know, so, I mean, let's just say you were financing something for 10 years, you're $1.7 million, round numbers, and, you know, you're around $200,000 a year, including interest. So, would you be, happy if you made $100,000 of your $200,000 back, or, I mean, what does that look like? I mean, just
Yeah.
simple number math there, not complicated.
I don't wanna speak for the rest of the members here. I just know my kids are teenagers, and this is the kind of stuff that they look for to go spend my money. Right? So these types of outdoor, like, entertainment venues, they just need a safe place to go with their friends and hang out like almost all day and spend like, and so I'm not saying I wouldn't go also. So I'm just saying something in this space would be, in my opinion, something worth us considering further.
Yeah.
Alright, I was looking to see if I could put my hands on those numbers pretty quickly, but
Well, there's three
I'll send
things, there's three things with this. Number one, what type of facility, what would that look like? What would be your dream with that? Number two, where would you put it? And number three, how much would it cost, and what partners could potentially come in and fill it? So there's your three bullet points to go with any of these kind of projects. So.
Sure.
I bet if we got some momentum of something going, there'd be more backing than we can imagine once it got out.
Well, and that, when I start thinking about locations, I'm also thinking about, we talked about an industrial park, and we've talked about some of that, but, there's that property over there behind Conaway where, theoretically, you could do a business park at some point down there for maybe some light industrial or whatever. But, I mean, you have to wonder how much light industrial White House is gonna do, or are we just gonna be a retail center that's providing services and things for its citizens? I mean, which end of that spectrum?
I would have thought 6 months ago that it was the latter. It's all a matter of how much manufacturing comes back to the US. I mean, if there's truly gonna be, the amount of money that's being talked coming back, well, there's gonna be a shortage of places to put a lot of stuff. And suddenly suburban locations are gonna be desirable for some kind of, industrial development.
That one robotics data center, or whatever the heck it is, they're putting in Abilene, is $500 billion investment.
Fortunately or unfortunately, what I've seen, like in and out of bigger cities, is that those places like just outside Troop and where the batting cages are down there, where they're a glorified storage facility, right? And then a bunch of storefronts in those seem to be how a majority of light industrial type spaces seem to be going. So like in Houston, nobody's building out the whole thing. It's one lease and a bunch of tenants.
And I get that, but it's sort of like I look, as I drive down 110 heading north, and you see all the warehouses that have popped up everywhere along there. Not very aesthetically pleasing.
That's a fact.
Yeah, being in a suburban location, we gotta be careful about quality of life with all this.
Exactly. So you gotta consider the aesthetics of what we're looking at as well, I think. So I guess that's option 4 that goes on my list.
That's a big option to me, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I do think also though, similar to the business model that we were just talking about with a multi-use facility, something like that, as opposed to developing out a traditional business park where you're just cutting out curbs and all that stuff. If you could go the step further and develop out those multi-use buildings, you can control the aesthetic of large, areas, And then you just get your anchor tenant in there and you're basically paying off your investment and you get other people in and now it's a profit center for the EDC. So it's the same model, just different takes on it, but it's my personal preference on how these things
And,
play out.
and my personal preference would be, in terms of investing EDC money, would be to find opportunities where we do get some ROI directly back from it.
Yeah.
So that,
Agreed.
whether it's, whatever that percentage looks like, that at least some of those funds are being funneled back our direction so that we can use it for other things.
Particularly these first
100%.
projects.
You're right.
Also gotta be something that's enough different than what's not already here, cause we don't wanna compete against our
Yeah.
neighbors,
Right,
Exactly.
our own business.
right. It's gotta be diverse enough to, yeah. Because then that creates a real issue of when you're potentially putting your other brick and mortar places out of business as a
Yeah.
result of it.
You don't wanna do that.
I generally think, cause
Item 5 on the list.
as a very small business owner myself, I generally think it's easier to find a space and lease it than to also get an investor to, basically do the big CapEx of building out a facility to spec, right? Like it's just been my direct experience.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this subject? What direction or anything would you like city staff to take in moving forward with it?
I propose, I know an architect, a guy with architecture experience, and he has developed a project in a suburban community that included a restaurant, coffee shop, entertainment space that was adjacent to a park facility. He's kind of a visionary thinker. Let me reach out to him and see if I can get him to come down one day and maybe just take a look at what we have and see where maybe we can go from there. He's pretty out of the box thinker, and I think he could maybe help us come up with some things. I don't know that I can get him to come out, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, no,
To
that's
see if
also
we
really
can-
good.
And also, as Charles said, maybe have retail coach wrap their brain around it and see what they think about it.
I mean, I don't think that's their bailiwick, but, but maybe they have some ideas on other contacts.
Possibly.
I wonder if one of our meetings sometime, we ought to just, instead of just being here, we just go, get a couple vans or cars or carpool, go to a few of these sites and us all just look at it together and think about it. What do you, I don't know.
I'm always up for a field trip.
Feels true.
No, I mean, it's hard sometimes to envision just what that looks like, what it could be, just sitting in the conference room.
That's true.
Okay, so that's the direction. Let's see if we can find some contacts and some creativity. Okay, item D4, consider future agenda items. I assume we're gonna circle back around and do we need to talk about the grand opening event, or are we clear on that? Or do y'all need future guidance, or is that good to go?
I think I understand, unless we need to come back. I mean, we'll come back to you with what we propose. So yes, I mean, we
I
come
mean,
back.
you've got a
but-
budget.
Yeah, but I know
We'd kinda like to see.
the way you want to go.
Yeah.
We can get that back to you, and if we need, which I can't imagine.
And again, continued discussion on retail coach, and then, whatever you discover on, agenda item 3. That's all I have. Anybody else?
Susan is working on a 30, 60, 90-day plan for her transition into the EDC role, so I think hopefully we'll have that for you at the next meeting for you all to take a look at. Kind of give you an idea of what she's thinking and what you can expect when she takes over that role full-time.
Nice.
That's okay, Susan.
No,
She
that's
hadn't-
fine.
She's
No.
been working on it, but we didn't
Yeah.
talk about.
We haven't
We
talked
bring it
about
up.
it. I've put something together, but I need guidance, and so I've given it to Leslie for some guidance.
This is something you probably all have, and I'm just ignorant to, but it'd really be helpful to have some sort of almost like EDC war map, you know, where here's the properties that could be available. How many acres, you know, and I don't know, it's hard for me to, I don't have a good handle on what we have to even work with.
We had something
Is
similar to that when we did the home builders open house.
We have, yeah, I know
It
you all
needs to
have
be-
stuff.
Don't we have something like that on our website?
Yeah,
I haven't
retail
looked at it.
coach, I think
Yeah.
that's most of
On
that.
the retail coach? Well, does it have acres and stuff like that on it?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I
at
was
some
thinking
I
point,
know
that
we have
did.
it through SCAD, so.
Yeah, cause there's I thought we had a link to something.
Yeah,
Little
I
properties
think
like
we
that.
do.
Header or
I haven't looked at it in a while.
The problem that we face, challenge that we face, is that a lot of property owners don't list their properties on commercial real estate sites, and so it's hard for us to track that. I don't know why that is the case here, but, so that's why we've really worked to strengthen our relationships with some of the commercial brokers to
Yeah.
help get that and track that for us. But like who we spoke to today, they're not gonna publicly list that they're open for ground leases on
but
that.
I mean, you know, we can always just put a big question mark, but here's something
Yeah.
that's a possibility.
So we try to track it internally as best we can when we know.
Cause then we'd have, you know, as we develop ideas of different things, and well, we need this kind of size place in this situation, oh, well, maybe this is a kid, you hell are carrying that all around in your head, you know, that's my deficiency for me, but.
My take is that most of the people that own property around here don't wanna pay realtor fees.
Agreed.
So.
Yeah.
If you got $1 million, why give up 6%? So,
Buyers are supposed to pay their half nowadays.
that's the way it's supposed to work.
And there are outfits that aren't charging 6% too.
Yes, there are. I'm just making a point, Phil. All right. Anything else on future agenda items? Hearing none. Item E, administrative reports, receive reports from staff. They sent all that out to us. Hopefully you had a chance to read it. Are there any questions, any concerns about any of that? You saw the bank account.
I had one question on the bank account is all of that just a money market, or we got some kind of CD ladder, or we got some other, it's starting to get enough money that, it ought to be generating a little income for us. I know you were getting quote interest, but what kind of,
I'll have to check with Jennifer, so we have, I know the city has accounts with Texas Class, which pays interest daily and pays a little bit better than local. I'll check with her and see if she's got any of that moved over there. If not, we'll get some moved.
cause it could be sitting a while, you know,
Yeah.
I hate to see, you know, $500,000 on it.
Yeah. Sales tax is down
Everywhere.
everywhere. So there's a look at. So you can see for April, we were back below 2023 numbers. March wasn't as bad, February was up, but
I think you're gonna see that trend continue for the
Yeah.
rest of the year. And maybe into next year a little bit.
I had a question along that line. When we get a new fast food restaurant in, does it just like dive into the pool and the sales tax is just like the same, but it's just taken from other fast food restaurants, or do we actually increase our sales tax with the addition of a fast food restaurant?
I don't.
Good question.
It's-
That's
I
the
don't-
$1 million
I guess
question.
it
Yeah, is it-
depends on what the fast food place is.
You would hope it always grows the
I-
base.
that's what you
never
hope.
know.
But people just eat out more, but we know that they don't just eat out more,
Yeah,
because
Are we getting passersby, or is it just local people deciding where to eat tonight?
I think you probably do see some shrinkage in some areas, but I think mostly, for us out here, you're probably taking something away from somebody else down the road. Maybe that's not going to Tyler or.
The amount of
Whatever.
school buses I've seen parked at the one next to a gas station has been,
Yeah.
that's a pretty crazy amount. The school buses would have gone somewhere.
Are
Yeah,
you saying the
also give more
Whataburger, or are you
options.
saying?
Yeah.
See, to me,
Let's not name that.
when it's of that scale and so easy and it's almost like a mini Buc-ee's or something, I think those probably get a lot of through traffic. But when it's just some little spot, you know, like Taco Bell or
Taco
something,
Bell.
it probably does pull
Making me
I will say, but if
hungry.
it's here, we're more likely to get it here than on our, but whereas before we would have stopped in Tyler and picked it up on our way home because it wasn't an option to get it in White House, but
If it's a new brand.
yes. Or, something that we haven't had.
Right.
I'm only gonna eat Dairy Queen so many times in a week before I'm willing to stop in Tyler and pick up something there.
Right.
Every day.
That's what it feels like lately.
Warren Buffett goes there every day.
Oh, he does?
Dairy Queen guy.
Boy,
I don't have Warren
he's,
Buffett money.
Oh, well.
I'm just thankful that
Bologna
that
sandwich.
our Dairy Queen wasn't part of all the other Dairy.
Yeah, no, and I just picked Dairy Queen though.
I know, but
On the way home from baseball practice.
Blizzards do be delicious though.
I'm a big fan of Taco Tuesday. Wherever it's at.
You,
So, I do think that's something we need to keep in mind is that we are gonna have a shrinking sales tax revenue as the economy contracts a little bit overall. I think it'll bounce back pretty quickly, but, I think in the interim, we're gonna have a dip down here.
there could be a dip.
We just gotta keep them in business until it comes back. So you gotta stop more often and eat, so they'll stay in
we
business.
have been here lately with life being as chaotic as it is. We've
And-
done our fair share to support fast food in White House.
And at the risk of going off topic, I can see a potential reduction in some real estate values too.
We should get our preliminary property tax values at the end of this month, so I'll be interested to see.
Oh, not from SCAD, that's gonna go up.
It's never gone down?
It's never gone down in the history of the world.
Well, we still have, because of market values went up so significantly, there is still a significant gap between appraised value and market value, so we've got some room to catch up, so I'm not worried about them going down, but
Yeah.
probably won't be the same amount of growth that we've had the last several years.
Good observations, everybody. Thank you for the reports. Anything else on reports that we should be paying attention to? Hearing none, we have nothing to talk about in executive session, correct? So the time is 1:03 and we are adjourned. We ran long, I tried.
We didn't run very